So one of the things that we discussed on my first video was how being detailed and using dynamics can really help tell a story. And so I want to continue to explore that concept as we dive into film number 2. Let's just start by discussing the two main points for the mix, right? So first of all, we're telling a story. Second, everything points back to the product. And so I want to start with that because for the people that are within the sound industry, if you're a beginner, if you're looking at tutorials like this to get ideas as to how to approach this project that came your way, storytelling not only from a visual perspective or dialogue perspective, but also from a audio post production, sound effects editing, sound design perspective. If all of those are glued, believe me, your product is going to be so much better than it would be if you just go a little bit more on your tangent, right? Because like the thing is that, realistically, when you're starting, you feel this creativity rushing from you, right? And you're like, oh, I want to do this or I want to do that. And like, I'm the expert, right, on this audio post thing. I'm the one that provides this service. So you guys should follow my lead, or I can tell you what to do or not. And down the road, you'll learn that all of that can be balanced with the fact that you're still providing a service for a client, and you want to make sure that you're capable of delivering what they want. And typically, if you stick to the story and stick to pointing back to the product, I think that you'll have your client pretty happy. And so I want to start by anchoring us back to that point, to the reality that a story is being told again, and everything points back to the product. So this is the way the film started. And Bill, which is the owner of the company, he's kind of like letting us in a little bit into what attracted him to this lifestyle. And this was a part that I composed, and it's just trying to reflect what Bill is saying in the visuals. So continuing the theme from the last film, right? You can see also the dynamics here. It starts as it pulls you into this like mystery of a fish. This second film is called Trout, right? And this fish is very special, specifically for Bill, and a big part of his story and why he chases this fish around and what attracts him so much of this fish. And so the way Correa wanted to do this was kind of like, let's just kind of start all the way back. Like why are we interested in fly fishing in the first place, right? Like why is it interesting for the client? And so we start with this snippet into Bill's life and what attracted him to that. And then we jump straight into like, now we're actually doing it. And it's in the middle of a river. It's the energy on this film is higher than film 1. So film 1 was backcountry, remote, small little creek, very peaceful, lots of beautiful energy and birds and nature. And so it's very calm, relaxing, like hobby to do kind of thing. This one, it's like, okay, this one's a bit more of a challenge to catch this specific fish, in the places that we find it are a bit more aggressive. And so the energy level and the direction for this one in sonic wise was, we're going to add some energy. We're going to reflect a bit more of a challenge on this one. And so with all of that said, it's all based around a story pointing back to the product. Just listen here how I mix this part with the intention of like, you can hear these waters rushing very strongly, and yet look at when he does that cast, how dynamically like I bring the waters down and focus more on that casting. You see how the dynamics kind of changed. He was still in the middle of a river, and the energy still feels like raw and like strong, you know. Yet, like the focus of the mix was on the rod, right? And so I showed you guys on film one, the behind the scenes, that I recorded all these sounds, and so the goal was to be able to, you know, almost brand these 3 films that we did, but also to really be able to portray the feeling and the experience of it, right? By, you know, really capitalizing on that unique sound. But what happens is that what's challenging about what I'm about to share is that if you've ever done it, fly fishing tends to be kind of fast. Like you're constantly like pulling and letting go and pulling and letting go. And so it's like a fast thing, but yet on these films, on all 3 of them, we used moments of slow-mo just to capture that beautiful cast that Bill does, and just to really like accentuate the moment, the experience, how this product complements your adventure, right? And so, but how do you portray that sonically? You know, I didn't record a slow-mo casting, so that was a very fun challenge for me. It was a lot of slowing down some of the audio that I collected and pitching it and like connecting it with another, and just kind of like playing around with a couple of these sounds, and trying to portray visuals, even though I didn't capture that when I did the recording. So here's the behind. Here's like, I think this is it right here. Yeah. If I stop the music here for a second. Let me see, open up a little bit. This is like the mixing session. This is not the sound design section. So we are going to be missing, you know, all the steps that I did to get there, to get here. But yeah, let me see, like if there's some, here it is. You can see that I have these automated. Yeah, you can see that I have some volume automation. I have some EQing and imaging and playing a little bit of reverbs. And yeah, I gotta mention, you know, Valhalla it's not necessarily the reverb for this yet. I thought it did a great job on what I wanted to accomplish. So no shame on that. But just wanted to share that a little bit, because these are the little things that, you know, you're going to get exposed to, you know, when your client comes, your film director comes and says like, hey, like I really want this moment to be accentuated sonically. And you're like, well, I never recorded that, you know, like how to, and so you got to get creative and you got to deliver. And so now I want to get into the music. And so this was a very, very fun part of this project, because I did this in a very unconventional way, where I played around with the track that they gave me and reversed it and played around with some automation to get the dreamy feeling that we were aiming for. And so sometimes I played them both at the same time. Sometimes I bring one down and the other one is more like regular volume. Then I bring the actual one up and the other one goes down. This is reversed. This is a regular one. And you'll see that the point of it was because in this moment, Bill was specifically talking about what makes these rods so special. And so the visuals were to a T, like complimenting what he was saying. And it was just so beautiful and dreamy. And yet the song that they had given me was great, yet it wasn't really hitting that tone that we were aiming for. And so instead of me composing something on top of it, what I did was like, how about if we play with it reversed and play around with some other little tricks? Nothing complicated. It's just getting creative, literally, is what it is, more than anything. So yeah, here is that part. You see this part, bring it back on reverse, it reflects almost like the light. It reflects like all the slow-mo and the dreamy, and this is without the voiceover, because I really want to encourage you guys to go watch this. But guys, seriously, this is like goosebumps moment. The way Bill describes these rods and how much thought and intentionality he puts into these rods when he's building them, along with the visuals really enhancing what he's saying, and the music and the sound design, all of it together is absolutely incredible. I get the goosebumps every single time. And there's nothing more fun than to create a piece of art that you look back and you're proud of. You know, like it's a very unique feeling. And so yeah, these are again just like very small tricks that I wanted to share with you guys. There's this very fun part here that you'll notice, like how the voiceover should have finished here, but we cut it. We cut it with the intention of finishing the fly rod slow cast, and like that, I'm actually gonna just include the voiceover just for you guys to get like what we did here. I think it was like the way to finish, and I had a shout out to Pat. He was here with me. He's a music producer also and composer guru. He's incredible, and he was here when I was working on it, and he just kind of caught that. He was like, "Ooh, I feel like this would be fun. Like if you do this." I was like, "Let's just try it out. Teamwork makes the dream work, you know." So let me just play this for you. Watch how we're focusing on the product again and on the storytelling mix wise.
And if we can make them look nice too, we will.
Anyways, that was very short. I didn't want to expose too much of it because I want you guys to, again, go watch it. But the point of all of this is to encourage a filmmaker, a film director to think about sound as you're filming, as you're in production. Sound it's really, really powerful. And there's so many studies that speak to this if you want to get more in depth about what's the impact of sound. And if you're in my field, in the audio post or sound design and all of that, and you feel, you know, like you're on the beginning stages and you need ideas or you need exposure to like what do other people do, you know, I hope that this was, you know, helpful to just see the session and see my approach, my thought process. And the beautiful thing about all of this is that if someone else would have done this, they would have done a completely different job. And that's the beautiful thing about being a creative, right? We all have unique approaches. And so I'm just sharing you my approach to this, and the fact I'm really proud of how it came out. And I hope that this inspires you for your next project, or for the one that you're working on. So thanks so much, guys, for joining me for this second one. And yeah, stay tuned for the third one. Cheers.